What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. I'm Steven. In today's video we finally get to check out Manic, an album by Halsey. I'm really excited to get into this one because I feel like this is really where I got into Halsey's career. This is where I heard some of the singles for this. I followed a lot of the music videos as they came out, and I started to see her more and more on these award shows, live performances, things like that. I heard a couple great remix songs or songs with great features, and I felt like this is really just where I embraced Halsey as an artist. And so I still need to do the Hopeless Fountain Kingdom video, but that will be something that comes at a later date. I am really excited to get into this. I just want to say for a second, thank you guys so much for tagging me on Twitter or mentioning me as you were listening to the album. You know, mentioning like, oh, I can't wait for you to hear this song. I think you're gonna really enjoy this song. I'm not gonna lie, when I started this YouTube shit, I never would have guessed in a million years that people would listen to an album and somehow think of me when it comes to that and what I would say about it. So that's so fucking cool, and I just want to say thank you guys so much. I'm gonna skip all the formalities. I just want to get into this. Woo! You already know I like that beat. That is that rock sound that I hear from her, that edgy sound that I think she does in such a perfect way, and you hear it on this where it starts out really emotional and then she lets that emotion burst on the chorus, and I think that's something I've noticed about Halsey in the past, but I feel like that might be something we get a lot on this album. Fuck. Okay, hear me out. I felt like in that track right there, I was very nostalgic in a moment where I could hear a lot of influence of like Warped Tour sounding bands, if that makes any sense to any of you. Maybe not so much in the verse, but in the chorus 100%. It kind of reminds me of that style that like Youngblood or someone like Juice WRLD even were kind of bringing back, and I could hear it a lot in that song, so that makes me really fucking excited to see what other things she might have used as influence on this, but I was not expecting that from her. I do enjoy that track for an opening track. I do feel like it didn't come out and like punch you in the face. It like had that slow build up as she started to set the tone for the rest of this album, and then obviously that heavy chorus, which I'm going to nerd out about every single time I hear something like that. This is one of those singles I didn't listen to yet. You know I'm gonna talk about that harmony right there, especially when it kind of sounds like, I mean, I don't know, the theme of the album is called Manic, but this voice seems so calm and almost like sarcastic, and then you hear the voice in the back like screaming, kind of like an angry child, but it works. Through a breakdown, I just need everyone and then someone. I just need everyone. Okay, I'm definitely gonna have to go back and read the lyrics to that song just to really get and capture everything that was going on, because, you know, obviously it had that second voice happening. It was almost like two different people singing the same song, and so that's kind of a lot to follow at once. My favorite part of that was definitely the chorus. I do enjoy how she blended that like last word into the chorus, and kind of it just like worked really well. The verse was okay. Like I said, I really want to read the lyrics to actually like make that song have a lot more meaning to myself, but overall it's pretty sick. If you guys have been following my channels for a while, you know that when that song came out, I was a huge fan, and that never went away. I've watched it in numerous live performances at this point. I've really enjoyed that song every time I've listened to it, and I feel like it just gets better and better every time. I think I like that the instrumental chosen is a little bit like upbeat, even though the song really necessarily isn't. It's actually pretty sad, but actually her blending all that together on this track is just something that's always brought me back to it. I love to see her perform it live. I think it's so cool when she does the interpretive dance kind of stuff with it. And I don't know, this is just a song that I liked from the very beginning when she did that first music video and she painted essentially her album cover. It was just sick. I learned that Halsey was an artist that day, and I've always enjoyed the song ever since then. This is like my favorite song right now. Nobody else will tell you, so there's some things I gotta say. Damn. Fucking love all of that at once. Fuck yeah. I was really stoked when this song came out. This is one of those songs that you guys blew up my social media telling me, oh my god, Steven, you're gonna love not only the song, but you're gonna love the video. And at the time, I didn't realize that a lot of the things she did in that video were all throwbacks to different eras of pop stars, Shania Twain, Lady Gaga, things like that. I was really fixated on the idea that this song's about G-Eazy. Lana Del Rey made a song about G-Eazy called White Mustang. Halsey was on a white Mustang in the video. I felt like all those things went together. I was obviously wrong, although it would be awesome to see that kind of collaboration one day. But you know what? She came out on Twitter about this song, talking about how, yes, it's about G-Eazy. She didn't say that, but just because she's writing about it now doesn't mean that, you know, this song was written yesterday. The song has been written for a long time, and I think that's important with this, with any of these songs we're going to come across, is that, you know, just because an artist is like super sad, or in this one, very angry about something, doesn't mean that they wrote it yesterday. They've just been holding in this emotion to the song that they wrote maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. I don't know how long ago that relationship was, but I love everything about the song. I love everything about the video. I enjoy hearing her do that more country style crossover in this song. And again, she shit on G-Eazy real good. What are you gonna do? Why you on the gram posting thirst traps? Really, that's all you're gonna do? We get this? That's all I'm saying.
Tooting honest with sarcastic. Now 50,000 more cadets. But I wanted to be more.
Damn.
So I could look inside. What does this mean? How could somebody ever?
Okay, I was going to have a comment on how I felt like there wasn't enough lyrical content in that song. I was going to talk about how it felt like one giant interlude or intermission, which I'm a little bit... I see a couple of those on here, but I felt like this was also one as well. But then you really start to feel that piano, you really start to feel that instrumental, you start to really get into it, and then her coming out of nowhere, those final vocals, pretty much secure that this song was great. I do feel like 2 minutes and 48 seconds is a pretty short runtime, considering that there was only a little bit of lyrics in it. I felt like she could have kept going with that last part. However, I definitely understand why she said you need to listen to this all the way through, track by track. You guys know on this channel I always recommend the first, second, maybe even third, fourth, or fifth time you listen to an album, listen to it start to finish. Because if it's pressed on a record, you have no choice. You're gonna listen to side 1 and side 2. Because you can kind of feel the emotion kind of going through. And I felt like that moment right there, other than Ashley having a couple of those harder elements in the chorus, that moment right there started to, she almost kind of like had like a break. The vocals on that song were so incredible. It's really annoying that the song was only 1 minute and 16 seconds. I get that it's an interlude, but I feel like if you're running off a vibe that sounds that good, it would have been really amazing to get at least another minute out of that. A lot of these songs have very short run times, and for a moment like that, I don't know, I kind of wanted to enjoy it a little bit more. Now, it's definitely the first time I've heard Dominic before, but those vocals are incredible, so don't be surprised if you start seeing a little bit of his stuff pop up on my channel. Yeah, I kind of wish that wasn't 1 minute and 16 seconds, but you know what? I guess with respect to Dominic Fike, this is Halsey's album, so it does make sense. I kind of wish that maybe they would have just been on a song together, though, instead. I'm glad to hear these vocals from her. I've loved all the styles she's used so far, but there's just something really great when you hear the sound from her. Damn, Halsey? Fuck. I'll be really shocked to find out this doesn't become another one of the singles for this album. This album actually has a ton of singles, and they've all done very well. But I can tell, based on the algorithm of this song, the way it's written, the structure of it, especially with that chorus, I wouldn't be surprised to hear this become a single, or at least being played on the radio. Yeah! I was really enjoying Halsey's vocals on that track. That's definitely something that that I think that track really has to shine for her. There's just really great moments. I believe that throughout the entire thing, that was like some of her best vocal work that I've heard that isn't more of that rock style. I really enjoyed her hitting those much higher notes at the end of the chorus. And like I said, I feel like this song could easily be a single. 2 minutes and 51 seconds in runtime. The song is put together in a way that I feel like you could easily hear that on the radio and love it. The lyrical content is relatable to probably a lot of people as well. If I hate everybody, why can't I go home without somebody? I mean, come on. Yes. What? We're gonna roll it back. Oh my God, please be sick. Please be sick. Yes. Halsey just made a better rock song than Imagine Dragons' entire discography. Hearing her do this style makes me so fucking excited. On Badlands, I think I already became a huge Halsey fan. There was just so much to love in that album. One thing I've always liked about Halsey is that she experiments so much with sound. Hearing this though, and maybe I'm just a sucker for a guitar and a pop song, but there's just so much great happening here, from the vocal delivery, from the verses, from that perfect chorus. I just feel like there's a lot to like. It's just easily going to be up there with my favorite song on this album. Damn. I'm a huge fan of that track. That is definitely my favorite that I've heard so far. So much to love in that. Again, maybe I'm just a sucker for guitar. But Halsey over this, especially what I said about the first song, Ashley, how there were so many elements of that song in the chorus that I felt were very like rock heavy. This song has so much of that, and I feel like if she would have had maybe a little bit heavier of a chorus with those higher vocal styles that she does that are more on the rock side, I feel like this could have easily fit in so many rock categories. And yeah, I'm so stoked about that track. I just want to... Okay, I'm stoked about it. So that was definitely one of the first Halsey songs that I had ever heard, and I don't think I've heard a version without Juice WRLD in it, and so it just kind of like, I haven't heard this instrumental in a long time, and so then you hear it and Juice WRLD isn't on it, and it just felt kind of weird. I know she shouted him out at one of her shows when she played this song, and that's really cool of her. I kind of wish, because there are some features on the album, I kind of wish that they could have just had the Juice WRLD version. Yeah, I like that song. Okay.
Apple baby, but you taste so sweet. Your voice is velvet through a telephone. I'm only playing by.
One of my favorite things about this track initially was the fact that she was blending sort of more of a country sound, not necessarily a full-on country song, but more of a country sound. And the reason that that stuck out to me so much was that the experimentation that she's able to do, and I've mentioned this before, but I think that is something that I've always enjoyed hearing from her. And so when I heard her do this song initially, I enjoyed the fact that she was trying to do that. Obviously, this was before You Should Be Sad came out, where she got like a whole nother kind of banger. But I think this is a really great crossover type of song. Yeah, I still feel the same way about that track. I still feel like she blended that very well. One thing that I've enjoyed about this album so far, as opposed to Badlands, remember I liked Badlands a lot, and what I liked about it was I think some of the production was overdone in a good way. I think there's just a lot of big things happening in that, with perfectly written choruses that were always like anthemic. And what I like about this album that's a little different is that each track has experimented a little bit differently with the instrumental, so you're not getting a similar sound all the time. Sometimes you might get a little bit of big production like that. Sometimes you get a guitar rock song like 3 AM. Sometimes you get more of a, you know, pop, hip-hop kind of crossover with Without Me. And then, you know, you get something like Finally Beautiful Stranger, which has that more country sound. or You Should Be Sad, which is country hip hop. Okay, there's a lot going on. But that's why I think this song fits so well on this, because this is essentially just like the title Manic. This is very eclectic, as if you were having a manic episode. You'd be all over the place, and that's what this is, and I think it fits perfectly for that. Before we go any further, this is what I kind of wanted out of that Dominic Fike one as well. You know, decent amount of Halsey. We're not even into Alanis Morissette yet. But there's just more to the song, and because of that, the runtime is longer in the song. Your pussy is a wonderland. Halsey is going to make everybody's Twitter bio that. That is just like one of those quotes that you're gonna hear and everyone's gonna be repeating it from here on out. But I enjoyed that song overall. I just really wish the production would have been better. I don't like the mixing on this. It is blown out, and I really wanted to hear the two of them together, because I mean, that's pretty fucking sick to get a song with Alanis Morissette in 2020. Hearing her singing those high notes that aren't like that rock style, just like actually high notes, she's really an incredible singer in so many different ranges. So it's cool that in this album we've got to hear so many different styles of that. So I really like the high notes she's hitting in that chorus. I feel like this is going to be one of those songs that's going to take a couple more listens for it to really grow on me. I felt like with the drums kind of going and the verse, it's just kind of like a lot going on. So I didn't love it on the first listen, but I do think that after a couple more listens, it'd probably grow on me. Just because the title of the song is so sick. Like, I want to hear more of that. She's one of those artists that, like, if she were to pick each style that she sings in and do a different style on every song, it'd be hard sometimes to say like, oh, that's Halsey, because she's got so many different styles. Sometimes very identifiable as Halsey, and sometimes you're not really sure. Fuck yeah. Fuck. I think it's so cool for them to have returned the favor. You know, she was on that song with them and it went fucking massive. It was all over the place, and so it's so cool to see that. I'm gonna say that K-pop Twitter alone could probably make this entire album go platinum just because of this feature. They could just stream the fuck out of this song and this album would go platinum very quickly. It's already, I think, eligible to be gold. Isn't that crazy? So this song on here is sick. Obviously, I have no idea what the lyrics were, but I do, and I always have enjoyed the rap style that comes from BTS. I've talked about them on my channel numerous times, and one of my favorite things that I go back to is the fact that they just have this amazing ability to spit these verses, and I used to always say that I really wanted to collab with some hip-hop artists, and they had done something with Wale, they had done something with Juice WRLD, so it's just cool to see that that's happening, because I feel like that's a talent that they have that I don't think maybe gets appreciated enough, because their songs, you know, they do have so many different styles, beautiful singing, and they have really great song structure anyways, and dancing and every other thing that they can do. But I feel like that hip-hop element gets overlooked sometimes, and I just think it's incredible from them.
Lying awake and I stare at the door. Wooden floors and little feet, a flower bud and concrete.
This is a song that I'm picking up heavy Badlands vibes off of. Definitely right away.
Nothing could stop me from giving a try.
Definitely just got the most beautiful moment on this album. Hearing Halsey do a ballad style like this works so well. It's amazing to hear her hit these notes, that bass line follow, and it's so deep, it's crushing. It makes you feel everything she has to say. And again, I definitely picked up some Badlands vibes. I guess you can credit that to the production on this song. But I like to hear Halsey like this. I feel like I don't get enough of this style, because even whenever she does like more love style songs or more like almost like folk pop style songs, you don't get it like this. This is like the first ballad definitely that I remember hearing from her to be done so perfect as well. And definitely something I'd like to hear more of from her. Again, it's just another style she's capable of doing that she does on such an amazing level, but I like the fact that she writes her songs, now that everybody's been telling me that, because you hear a song like this and you know that when she wrote this song, she wanted it to feel a certain way, and you go into the studio and you're like, hey, when I get to this chorus, I need them to feel it, and you can feel it in every element of that bass pattern that runs it, and it's so beautiful.
Should be living the dream, but I'm living with a security key.
Hey!
I love you, but I'm still learning. So
I think lyrically, that's probably my favorite track on this album. I feel like it's probably one of the most relatable songs on there. And furthermore, I just like to hear Halsey with that honesty that doesn't feel like it needs to be anything other than her telling the truth. It doesn't feel like a song that needs to be made into a single. It doesn't feel like it needs to be a radio hit. It doesn't feel like it needs to be the most standout track on the album. I just feel like it's one of those songs where it's, hey, I love you, but I'm still learning to love myself. I feel like that's something that I go through all the time. As you guys know, I talk about it on my YouTube channel recently. And yeah, it's just something that's relatable, and it's one of those songs that I think stand out to me lyrically more than anything. Even though I was paying attention to the instrumentals for sure, I felt like I was mostly delved into those lyrics. That doesn't always happen on the first listen, so I'm really glad that I did.
I really was born at 9:29 a.m. on 9:29.
they said, don't meet your heroes, they're all fucking weirdos. Just try to fuck you, then put you on a feature on the B-side.
God damn. Okay, I just talked about all those lyrics from Still Learning, and now we're getting the real truth from Halsey, the real tea.
And I quit smoking, well recently I tried, and I remember the names of every single kid I've gotten in bed. And I realized that I'm no higher power. So no, you don't keep my voice out.
9:29 is my favorite song on the album. 3 a.m. was definitely going to get there. 9:29 is it. You know why? If you guys follow my channels, you hear me talk about music. My favorite thing is that raw honesty. And hearing Halsey literally just spit her truth, spill the tea, this entire song, and the way that she did it, there's just everything about that is exactly what I'm going to love in a song. It feels so perfect. You know what I love? There was nothing heavy on the instrumental. They weren't trying to be overproduced, nothing like that. This was straight up just her telling these lyrics, explaining how she feels, explaining the very, very real truth about her life. And it's very easy to feel the authenticity. Nothing felt fake, nothing felt forced. Everything felt real and honest. And 9:29 is the best song on this album. Granted, there are amazing songs on here, and that's not to discredit any of this track list, because I believe this track list has a lot of amazing things happening. But 9:29 is where you really get a peek into Halsey's real life, who she really is, things she really deals with. And I felt like more than anything, that's what I wanted to hear on this. And so for the album Manic, that is the most honest song on here. I think it was so perfect. Okay, so let's talk about this entire album. So one thing I loved, the album is called Manic, and I think one Manic thing that we got from this is that there are so many styles on this thing, and it's not just the instrumental or the production. You're also getting a lot of styles from Halsey. She really went through and just picked every single thing she was capable of doing for the most part and did it on a song at some point in here. And I'm actually a fan of that, especially when an artist does have so many versions of themselves. I feel like it's a really great chance to hear all of those things happening on one album and still make it sound good, especially with the album name Manic. There was no way you were gonna mess up with that. I like that there were a few guitar-oriented instrumentals on this, because I do think that Halsey has a really great way of shining through that, and of course it's some of my favorite instrumentals, so I'm gonna want to hear it when I get the chance. There were a couple things that I wasn't a huge fan of. One of the biggest being that this album is entirely too short for being 16 songs. It's 16 songs, it's only 47 minutes in runtime, and a lot of these tracks are, well, 1 minute, 2 minute, none of them really hit anything more. Let me look. None of them hit over 3 minutes. And I do think that that is very interesting, because a lot of the songs that were short were super short, like 2 minutes and something. And I kind of wish there was more. There were moments in this, especially like I think of Dominic's interlude immediately. 1 minute and 16 seconds. And arguably some of the best vocals on this album are happening in that track. Yet the other two interludes were 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes. Like, I felt like there should have been more to that song, and I feel like it was cut really short. Obviously, the Alanis Morissette interlude, I am not a fan of the mixing on this. I even listened to the song again to make sure that I wasn't just being crazy. And no, she sounds very distorted, and that just kind of sucked. It sounded a little bit better towards the end. However, I just felt like overall, especially with the lyrics being so cool in that song, I kind of wish that they would have just produced that better. This album already has 5 singles on it. If you go down the list, you see 5 singles. You know that that BTS collab is gonna be huge as well, so think of it as 6. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, like, I hope that people do pick up this entire album because they need to hear more. They gotta hear 3 AM, they gotta hear 929, they gotta hear Still Learning. There's just so many great songs that happened, especially towards the end, and I really hope that because this has so many singles, I really hope that people don't only listen to the singles because there's so many good songs to be had here. One thing I'm gonna be honest about, I do feel like this album is not going to strike with me right away. The deep cuts, I feel like lyrically were very deep, and it's something that I'm going to need to take some time to listen to this album 2 or 3 more times and really let some of that stuff resonate with me, because it's one of those albums where she is being very honest in it, and because of that, you're gonna want to sit back and be in the right headspace to always listen to each of these songs individually. So I wanna make sure that I give this album a couple more listens to really let it resonate, but this is all the stuff that I'm really talking about on my first listen. But as of now, you guys know I am a 3 AM and 929 stan. I think those were so good. Those songs were really great, and I feel like they captivated a lot of stuff I like. 3 AM being one of the best rock songs I've heard in a long time, and 929 just being the most honest and emotional song, and I think it is such a perfect way to end an album. Please let me know in the comment section what you guys thought of this album. I'm really excited. I'm gonna go pick this up on vinyl, as well as the rest of her discography, because I still need to do Hopeless Fountain Kingdom. I hope you guys liked today's video. If you did, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about this album. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.